No.
It's fine.
Okay.
Oh.
Are we good to start?
1 second.
Are you trying to send out the email chain? Is that?
I sent out the email chain. I don't know if you did you get it.
Yeah.
Wait, are you a different judge than?
Oh, do they swap judges?
I don't think so.
Here, let me add it again. Sorry about that. Both the ones in your paradigm are fine, right?
Can you just put PS drops comment?
Sorry.
Are you guys making a new chain?
I'll just reply to that to the chain.
Oh, that's cool.
Tell me if anyone gets the new email.
I'll send out case moment that we get that.
Okay, I'm good.
This is Octos.
Yeah.
Yes.
Nice. Do you guys care if it's PDF or docx?
Yeah. Yeah. I'll tell you when to get it.
Yeah. Yeah. Whenever everyone's good.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you send?
Yeah, I sent a PDF.
Yeah.
Did you get it? Got it?
I think I did.
Okay, perfect. Then time will start on my first word.
We affirm contention 1 is cohesion. Collapse is happening now. Sterling Blogger 918 writes, Europe's leaders can't get stuff done. The continent is plagued by a combination of strained budgets, fragmentation, opposition from political extreme. Powerlessness in the office is a norm. Paralysis and turmoil are here to stay. Debt yields are spiking, political instability, carrying inherent dangers vulnerable to Putin, Trump, China. The Eurozone crisis result is fragmented parliaments. Capacity of governments to deliver policy change is limited. Decision processes are slow. Criticism from nationalist movements. UK recession happens now. Best indicators and data. Price 917. Britain on recession watch leading economists raise concerns about unemployment, triggering alarm bell sombre. Predicts recession is imminent. Breached 4 times, each coincided with recession. Softening labor market, heightened risk, damaging inflation. 19-month high, prices highest since 2024. Joining the EU means increased environmental cooperation. Johnson 425. EEA membership a priority. Reestablishing environmental links. Reverse consequences of departure. UK absence from agency weakening its leadership on environmental issues. Rejoining with signal renewed willingness to work on climate change, biodiversity loss, and pollution. Practical way to rebuild trust. Joining which show Britain is ready to lead alongside neighbors. And increase cohesion. Independently also solves alt threats. Benford all 3-2. Environment defined by Trump needs to support Ukraine. Chinese influence, closer cooperation, therefore crucial on economic and security matters. UK requires acknowledging prosperity linked to EU. In EU's interest to accommodate cooperation essential to broader geopolitical objectives, reliable alliances are more valuable than ever. Drift would represent profound strategic failure. And the economy. A boost from the app would be enough to offset tariffs. Parliament 25. Alignment boost exports $21.8 billion. Boost could be 20 times larger than combined of post-Brexit trade deals. Offset impact of tariffs by third. Secondly, on Brexit shorts of investment. Bruno 20. Impact of EU membership on FDI, 60% for inward, 50% for intra-EU FDI, significantly larger than FTA. Benefits of deep as against shallow integration. The EU is a leader in the fight against climate change. YO24. The EU has emerged as a leader in the struggle to address climate change. The EU seeks to foster collective action, build resilience, and promote the transition to a low-carbon economy around the world. The EU played an important role in drafting a joint agreement with other countries. As one of the architects of the Paris Agreement, the EU continues to encourage other countries to comply with the agreement. We can't sabotage the EU. Climate is at a tipping point now that kills billions. Pierce 23. For every additional degree of warming beyond 2 degrees Celsius, roughly an additional billion deaths will be caused. Contention 2 is trafficking. Human trafficking in the UK is at an all-time high. Ravi Kumar 24. Modern slavery has been rising. The number of people living in modern slavery in Britain is estimated to be about 130,000 people. Despite warnings from even the UN, the UK refuses to pass anti-trafficking laws. UN 25. No action taken. UN recommendation. The UK government has not adopted a national strategy to combat trafficking in women and girls since the recommendation was made in 2019. Children's consent to their sale or exploitation, no act taken. The UK government has not introduced new specific civil remedy for victims of trafficking. No evidence government considered creating one. Fortunately, the app solves with a laundry list of EU anti-trafficking initiatives. Cortiano 21. UK anti-trafficking legal and operational frameworks, collaboration necessary, full participation in Europol and Eurojust, access to EU databases, SIS2, sharing of legislative frameworks, the European arrest warrant, and the European investigation order, UK and EU law, intelligence sharing and anti-trafficking, criminal records, intelligence and analytical insights related to trafficking are a trump card of law enforcement. Schengen Information System 2, largest database for preventing cross-border crime. Systems allow anti-trafficking investigations, domestic and cross-border crimes input. UK never been part of the Schengen area, no longer part of the EU, will no longer be possible. Empirics proof, post-Brexit strategy solves root causes. EMN 25. Study provided overview of EU-funded measures and EMN, prevention and demand reduction, examples of outcomes, EU strategy on combating trafficking in human beings 2021 to 2025, breaking criminal business models, reducing demand, protecting and empowering victims, supporting coordination through EU agencies under Impact umbrella, invested significant against risk of trafficking. Human trafficking is a form of genocide. Bryant 25. Human trafficking used with intent to destroy a targeted group should be understood as genocide, trafficking systematically employed to further genocidal objectives.
Just a quick introduction. Natalia Lurker for Dougherty Valley High School on the night. Time will start on the first
Can you
one.
send case?
Oh yeah, sure. Would you got that?
Yeah, I'm sending it right now.
second.
Give me a sec.
You click reply all.
Yeah, did everyone, sorry, the Wi-Fi is slow. I sent it like a little bit ago. Tell me if everyone gets it.
Yeah, then I didn't get it.
Oh. Yeah, it says everyone was added to the email.
Okay, I think I just
I
got
think
it.
it does that.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah, the
Everyone got it?
Yep.
Cool. Time will start on my first one. Luke and I negate. Our argument is simple. The past is a place to learn from, not return to. Because we remember the lessons of history, our first contention is the economy. The UK has finally recovered from Brexit and COVID. The Financial Times reported just 20 days ago that economic growth is now at 1.5% and inflation is to subside. Business has flourished and the UK is the fastest growing G7 economy in Europe. Joining the EU would be turning around once we finally reach the light at the end of the tunnel. And this growth isn't magic, it's a result of trade deals all across the board. Our holistic analysis finds that the UK signed trade deals across the globe with India, Australia, and the US, generating over £160 billion and allowing the UK to climb out of the trenches. Unfortunately, rejoining would wash away this progress, with the BBC confirming that according to EU policy, members of the EU can't make their own trade deals, meaning Britain would be forced to cancel every single trade agreement they built, which would ruin the progress and stability they spent 5 years trying to get. An economic hit like that would plunge the UK into a recession, affecting millions. Francis Define of the House Commons Library 25 wrote that just one recession could throw 1.5 million people into poverty and increase low income rates by 21%. Our second argument is AI. The UK's AI sector is strong right now. The City of London Company 25 finds that Britain now has the third largest AI market in the world, employing 50,000 people, with 90% of banks investing in generative AI. Dawson 24 projects this wave will add £550 billion to the UK economy over the next decade. Robson 25 explains that if the UK rejoins the EU, it would be bound by the EU's AI Act, which places overly restrictive rules on AI development, making it slower, costlier, and far more difficult to achieve. That would destroy the UK's AI market. The result would be Benjamin Muller of Oxford 22 finds that just one law, the GDPR, has struck European business profits 8.1% and small firm profits 12.5%. And it gets worse each year. Dr. LaCall 25 finds that the EU published 1,200 new regulations every year, reducing GDP by over €1 trillion annually. That means if the UK were to rejoin, they would be subject to thousands of new laws each year, killing small businesses. That type of economic decline puts the UK into a recession, affecting millions. Francis Deming continues that just one recession could throw 1.5 million people into poverty. Next argument is India. The UK-India just signed a free trade agreement, Route 25. The India-UK FTA finalized on May 6 boosts trade by €25.5 billion and aims to double it by $40 billion by 2040, marking a major post-Brexit milestone. That's key for the Indian economy. It directly offsets US tariffs, ET25. Losses from US tariffs are offset by rising exports to the UK under the new FTA, which boosts India's textile sector and creates a level playing field. Affirming ruins this. EU members can't make trade deals outside the organization's walls, BBC 16. UK has to leave EU before new trade under EU rules. Countries cannot make trade deals with non-EU countries. Rules apply to all states equally. Empirics prove Germany couldn't trade with the US, DeRocher 725. Trump is frustrated dealing with the EU. He claims it will screw the US. Trump hopes the deal with the Germany-EU rules, however, only EC can negotiate trade deals. That's bad. Without the trade deals, tariffs cook India's economy, Galani 917. US tariffs cut 0.6% of GDP, caused job losses in exports like textiles, and weakened the rupee, though Modi tries to offset it with free trade deals. Modi distracts from decline with aggression, Dalmia 19. Modi annexed Kashmir, distract from cratering economy, move popular nationalist fear, keep Pakistan at bay, growth drop from 8 to 5, exports plummeted. Any Indian escalation causes Pakistan to lash out. Just try or die for them, Minhaj 19. India's military buildup and new doctrines endanger Pakistan's deterrence, forcing it to act and preserve the balance of power. Indo-Pak war goes nuclear porno in Big Chal 15. India's cold started Pakistan tactical nukes, creating user-loose risk of nuclear escalation, started 15. But nuke war leads to extinction. Don't Don't let them read any new framing in their rebuttal. Frame the debate as the most good for the most amount of lives rather than prioritizing minimal lives that we can still save under utilitarianism. Are you chill with open cross?
Real quick, do you have your paraphrase version?
Pair?
Yeah.
I like the script. Yeah, sure.
Can you send that over first?
Yeah, I'm saying that over right now.
Thanks.
India wasn't paraphrased, so I kind of just
Yeah, no, I know. It's just 1 and 2, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then are you guys okay with open cross?
I'm fine.
Okay. Okay, that should be it. Everyone gets that? You also have a paper one if you want that.
I prefer the computer one,
Yeah, okay.
sorry. I think I just got it.
Okay, okay.
Okay, cool. I'm good for cross though.
Yep.
Okay. On the first question.
Okay, good.
Let's talk about Modi. Modi has like seen like Pakistan an attack and stuff. Why hasn't he triggered a nuclear war?
Just because of attack doesn't, like, it just, like, the actual, like, policy is, like, to use it or not. It's saying, like, the actual, like, aggression from Pakistan has to be nuclear.
Okay, but that is contingent on India attacking?
Yes, and that is contingent on that being from, like, the actual, like, economy collapse, being, like, they're desperate at that point.
Okay, so real quick then. Trade deal, the tariffs have already happened per your Galani evidence. Why does that mean that we haven't seen the impact yet?
Because it happens, it happens post-app because trade deals get taken away.
But you say that tariffs have already been put on India? I'm confused.
Basically, just a real clarification on the actual link, it's saying that, like, basically these trade deals are taken away or that they're really heavily, like, just ruined post-affirmation. This causes, like, India to basically lash out because, like, their economy's getting, like, really, like,
Yeah,
screwed
I
over, right?
understand.
And so, like, that causes them to lash out, causing, like, a nuclear escalation
I
event.
understand. Their
Yeah.
economy got decked in September. Why didn't we see, like, Modi lash out then?
Because it just wasn't to the scale that this would be when they're, because at this point, this would be like when their economies are already so connected, just because like, oh, there's economic decline, this is not the same thing as economic failure.
Sure. I'm gonna question.
Alright, so you say that investment in the EU like is larger than what can happen with free trade deals, but your evidence is from 2020. What about now in the status quo?
It's probably still that investment from the EU is better.
So it's better, but if we're seeing that there's more like investors turning to the UK in comparison to the EU, wouldn't that just be the exact opposite?
No, we'd say that investors are still going to be on net better when you rejoin, which is our argument.
Why? If we're seeing that investors are pulling out of the EU right now in the status quo because of their policies, especially when it relates to tech, and they're preferring to invest in the UK in comparison,
Yeah, so
then
we'll
how
tell you
about-
that the EU's policies are getting better and that they're also improving.
What's the bright line for that?
What's the bright line for that?
Yeah, when is the policy actually gonna get better? To the point where like investors start turning away from the UK and into the EU?
Yeah, no, they're not turning away from the UK. If anything, if the UK joins, that means that like both of them get a boost in
That's the
investment.
question.
But
It's like you're
no,
saying that like,
they
right,
still both get investment then. If the UK joins, then it's probably.
yeah, but we're seeing investors turn away from the EU and go into the UK, and then you're trying to make this argument that suddenly like, the EU's gonna get better. When is that gonna happen?
Probably like when we join because that means our cohesion goes up. Can I have a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Let's talk about AI.
Yeah.
Any numbers on how much the AI industry has actually been decked?
In the EU, yeah,
Yes.
its profits fell by 12.5%. We were seeing that 40 of the top 100 firms or so leaving the EU. So profits down 12.5%.
Okay, unicorns. You say unicorns have left. What are unicorns?
Is a tech term. Basically, it's just like tech sector like businesses that are like kind of on their own or insofar are like more startups or like very important to the economy.
Oh, it's the startups. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Running prep starting now.
Okay, it should be 40 seconds.
I'll send the doc.
Golden is fine. Is golden space fine?
One sheet is fine.
You might want one.
Actually, yeah, framing can be on another sheet.
Okay. Sorry about that. Are you starting framing first?
Should I?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure, I'll go framing first.
Wait, the format of the doc is a bit different.
Oh, here, I think
Is
that's
it-
check it.
All the framing is gonna be at the bottom.
Oh, okay, okay. Wait, so
But I'll read that first.
Oh, okay, thank you. You just got me. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. You get it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So with that, it's gonna go order, framing, and then straight down their case. Good? Good, okay. Time starts now. Start on framing. Yes, we can't read framing because it's weighing. It's a reason why you prefer our scenario over theirs. But extinction is white supremacists who don't go for extinction, you prefer genocide. Mitchell and Chardy for 2020. End discourses are concerned about whiteness. Those concepts are constructed through power of the super exploit bodies. We reject the Eurocentric notion how threats are understood and feudal imageries are cut off and sideline the presence of futures and plurals of others. Discourses that protect the and seek to protect whiteness. Whiteness is the form of property that accuse benefits and including material, physical, and security. The whiteness they embody are linked to imperialism, genocide, slavery, and anti-blackness. And discourses influence thinking and structurally embedded assumptions are reproduced in ways that perpetuate race as a global power structure. Majority white spaces create epistemicism, which share the assumptions that are rarely challenged. Discourses normalize and obscure violence. These authors invoke the all lives matter that erase equal distribution of harm. And our call for the ballot, it creates change in the academia. Overall, we are critiquing the practice of prioritizing the academia itself. That outweighs Hawkins 19. Academics embrace a model of continuous achievement and a capacity to take on work that indefinitely elastic practice over achievement, persistence, competition, and winner-takes-all ethos are complicit in the very process that shift the mission of university towards market defense and discussions where shape complexity and ethics within these practices. And be rationally optimistic. Extinction risks are non-infinite, checked by intervening actors and structurally unlikely, so maximize utility through moderation. Vargas 20. If humans are infinite, this makes it hard to prioritize probability since results in infinite cost. Humanity is finite. Using energy in the universe as an event leads to humanity's end of 1% of 1%. To argue we should expend all resources towards these risks assumes that we are fully knowledgeable. It is oblivious to technology that can save us resources. The best way to curb these risks is incremental change. Poverty has fallen, deaths dropped by 30% in the last 2 decades. We're seeing signs of government taking risks seriously. An example is decarbonization. We should expect more because it serves self-interest.
Read the last part.
And the DA is capped by low risk. Boy 23. Risk in the analysis found that a long-term probability is causing catastrophe of the sector. The review of 67 probability estimates that AI 0.0001% probability, pandemic 0.0000333 probability, nuclear war 0.00001% probability, climate change is yeah, I cut that right there. Then on their case. First, on economy, the UK's economy is failing into the future. Chan from 3 weeks ago postdates their evidence by 8 days. Chan 10-18. Regular hurt the economy for the foreseeable future. Years of low UK productivity has driven up debt, and the average Lithuanian have a higher living standard than the average Britain. By the end of the decade, the UK would drop to be the 25th richest country in the 25 years ago to the 46th richest country by 2050. And new trade deals only boost the economy by 0.2% in the long run, shallower than the single market. Spring for 25. The GDP predicts a 15% reduction in UK trade in both goods and services. Its export performance has been much worse than other countries with large carrier sectors. Goods trade within the EU grew much faster than outside the Union. If the EU or UK remained within the EU, it would have been more rapid trade growth. Cut that card there. And C2 AI. The AI sector is no, don't cut that. And jump to.
Go to rankings.
Wait, you just.
Go to Rankin. DLED, the new EU initiative ramps up AI supercomputing increases investor confidence and simplifies harsh regulations. Rankin 25, a EU has $20 billion plan to increase sites with supercomputers to develop the next generation of AI models and to play a transformative role in healthcare, security, defense, and manufacturing. The AI gigafactories are much larger, and factories have up to 25,000 AI processors, and gigafactories exceed 100,000. And then on, wait,
Go to India.
on India, the EU trades with India. There's no reason why the UK is independently key. European Commission 25 finds that EU is India's second largest trading partner, accounting for $120 billion in 2025. And there's no reason why the UK specific should have triggered the link with the they should have triggered their link with the US tariff. Can I go back to AI? AI removes 8 million jobs. It triggers their recession because AI is able to replace any of the jobs that you see, and it triggers their recession because you remove 8 million jobs, which causes job loss.
Can we please get marked up?
Yes.
And then can we also get the card for me? I don't know who it is.
It should all be there.
It is.
Everything is there.
Oh.
I'll mark it though.
Okay. And then yeah, we get marked up.
Yeah, for sure.
And then was the last thing on India a card or was that
It was
analytics?
Yeah, it was a card, but I think he deleted it, so I can't.
It's in there. It's like that.
Because we didn't read the card names, so I didn't catch it.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, we'll go back to that.
Okay. Yeah, and then we'll start prepping. We'll get marked up.
No, I haven't. Where should we send?
Okay. And then when I get it, I'll take. And then we'll start. Just got it. Okay, so we'll check it. And then everything on India, so you read?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, starting, what do you get, whichever? No. Okay, that was 50 seconds. I'll send Doc, there's 2, I'll send 2 more.
Wait, what do you mean 2 mark?
There's gonna be 2 different documents.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's just like easier to read. I can send one combined one if you really want, but like.
Yeah, that's true. Alright, well, if worst case, like we can mark that together or something.
Yeah. Probably not gonna get everything on time on the framework, so like almost that mark after.
Okay, that's cool.
Okay, sent that. They're doing the same thing. I'm gonna start on Elim 1 first.
Okay, can you just give the order of the speech?
Yeah.
Okay. Wait, also, I haven't gotten the document, so.
Oh, yeah. In the meantime, order is gonna be addressing framing, just all the framing stuff on their case, and then the specific warrants for that, and then going our case, their case. Or- Did you get it?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay. For a quick introduction, my name is Luke Sincero, second year of Dougherty Valley today. Order of the speech again, pretty simple. Framing, warrants for that, our case, their case. Great. If everyone is ready, I'll tell you when I go to different talk too. Okay, everyone ready? Time will start our first word.
First off, we can read framing as weighing extinction is white supremacist. This goes in for extinction, but also attack to genocide. The framework is abusive. It's written in a way that essentially blocks out any of the arguments and Lincoln's and impacts. But here's the problem: framing does nothing for any of the genocide that is constructed. What does it actually do to mitigate the impacts on several drug trafficking cartels, armed trafficking, sex trafficking, and border corruption? Go into the framework proper. Different doc. Go to the very top, executional risk outweigh as Order 22 says that a situation or evidential probability on the basis of the available information is the probability used in the courtrooms in the light of best evidence in the current century. Humanity is the risk of nuclear weapon or pandemic, perennial war of the low elaboration. Humanity is the scene of catastrophe before millions of deaths, but must be worth the 1,000 measured in just lies. Extinction would easily be the worst event in history. Extinction first is bad because it means we prioritize extinction is not an actual argument. 5% is a threshold as a considerable bias, but not considerable ability for what impacts are relevant. Their views can ban assessing police brutality because it's less than a 5% indication of what are violent. No internet values. Our argument isn't if you know future gens. There's just a lot of them, which is why we outweigh don't freeze actions. You can compare probabilities. By the way, you cannot mitigate specialization by answering to them. That's the problem with the debate. Every DA is empirically based. That means a deduction of backing possibility can only be contained. Surveys, markets, and polls can reasonably predict utility outcomes. Empirically is true. Predictions are accurate because the modernization isn't technique, as Word 13 says that events are unpredictable because of events like 9/11 or the Cold War. Our capability to collect data and process data increases the degrees for which science fiction thinks a new ability to make structure events and probability in the world, which the prediction has become commonplace. Scholars and outlook data cut right there. Good is good enough. It's not typical that you apply ethics to criteria does not imply that feasibility is Shaw 14 finds a third injection into the future's unpredictability and foreseeing reasonability in their own action will lead our anticipation prove that they were correct. Possible to learn through the world hardly enough to be utilitarian planner or to ask this board to which should apply morally unjustified as the only thing that's ethical to that. No genocide outcomes, extinction kills minorities at will, prioritize maximizing the overall well-being, crave out the actual privilege occurring population, however slippery slope to genocide and turns their own case and proves that the intention to resolve structural violence. No particular fallacy of the debate is a new activity and drop the arguments are considered truly their own burden to mitigate their own journaling. Otherwise, the risk is 100%. Any other view is likely to the judges to import their own views about risk that is essential. It links into them in the first place. Their case is riddled with multiple internal links. In theory, there's infinite. So winning the result of presumed ballots, debate solves the conjunction. Now go back onto their case. Go into our case. Right? Collapse onto any of the only response they gave is that EU, the largest trading partner, would realize they missed the warranting in our own case. I tell you, the evidence finds that the U.S. is the largest trading partner inside of the party. In fact, our own evidence says that EU trading is well behind the U.S. and probably 1/4 in the world. Only so they can read the impact scenario is conceded. They conceded our purely the UK rejoining would cut trade deals. This means that we have to win the deal by offsetting trade deals. Go into their case. First on the overview on time frame, the case is literally cooked. The cycle of say Brexit was way too long. A ruling process and reversing is equally as long as McGee 10 explained that if we were to rejoin the deal, it would increase. It would take 10 years for access and understand by stalling right now. So trust in the current world, trust in the negation rejoining 10 years. McGee 24 finds that Britain rejoining the world will be a slow methodical process. Access to the more decade. Any reset require approval of all EU 27 nations, and Britain cannot voluntarily rejoin them and reapply EU laws for freedom of move without negotiating with agreeing partners. So there's two conditions to this. Either their impacts literally do not happen, or it means that literally our own thing for trafficking literally cannot happen in the first place. First on cohesion, we're only going to read the turn is that the EU is actually in sample prison right now in the UK and stand up for Europe, finds that Europe finds it strongly and new laws. After the 2025 that the political term is that in 2025, there's certainly a need for uniqueness and the required investment strategy and break up the status quo and settling policy in the area, the setup of the new and existing funds of cutting in state aid. Okay, going to human trafficking is really, really bad for going to human trafficking. Yeah, so members do not actually mean enforcement, human trafficking enforcement depend on police resources and investigate persecution, not EU members. Because of this, they literally link into their own framework here because they were supporting a violent police state in the first place. Okay.
Can I get marked?
Yeah. Are you fine to just cut the script and then you can just look at the cards?
Wait, what do you mean?
Like, I just cut out the script from it, you can just look at the cards that are.
Wait, like, I like the one that you read, though.
Yeah, I mean, like, I was cut out, like, from the script part at the top, like, it was sick. The only one there is.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Also, the cards for the extinction outweigh stuff.
It just go to the bottom of the doc.
Uh,
It's in the doc, it's the, first thing.
wait, I don't see Ward.
Oh, here, what's on that? 1 second.
I don't think I also have Ward.
Yeah, here, I'll go to the doc and send that to you in a second. Or I'll send it in the PDF.
Yeah.
Let me get the main case done for you, though. That's all. Okay. Okay, that was fine. 3 is gonna be the framing, and then 4 is gonna be case proper, including the attack to genocide.
The docs.
Yeah, so like 3, Elam 3 is gonna be like the cards for and like this like a cut off for the framing.
Oh,
And
like
then-
okay.
Yeah, okay. Whenever you're ready for cross. Actually, we'll set up for cross.
Yeah, I'm not on the doc either.
Okay.
You decide.
Did you get it yet?
It's 3 and 4.
Yeah, wait, also, can you resend the case to partner and get it?
Oh, really?
Yeah, like the app
Well, I
mark.
don't see it anymore.
You don't see it? Is it under the like the little button that says 2? Do you have that? Because I got like.
Oh, yeah, I found it.
Okay, perfect.
And all the stuff from the files is what's cut and stuff. Like all the component framing. Okay. Let me resend it just in case, but you got it. Did anyone else get it yet?
Oh, you want me to resend it?
Yeah, I'm gonna just resend it just in case.
Oh, wait, are you resending mine?
I know I'm resending Mark Doc.
Oh, no, I got it.
Oh, you got Mark Doc? Oh, okay, then you're good to go.
Okay.
Okay.
Now, why specifically is police brutality key to human trafficking, or like police state?
Yeah, so essentially what we're saying there is that in order for you to implement your own like solution for human trafficking in the first place, you're supporting a white supremacist system through like basically by supporting a police system. Funding is going to police. The police is inherently warranted and inherently connected to a white supremacist state. So by you supporting a white supremacist state through policing, you're inherently linking into genocide and white supremacist theories.
Okay, but isn't the policing going to stop human trafficking? How is that inherently white supremacist, and how is that going to
Because-
perpetuate white supremacists
So you're-
by stopping human trafficking?
It's not about whether or not it stops human trafficking. It's that because first off, the funding that you're adding is not only going to human trafficking. If you look at actually police structure for how funding is mitigated, you're always going to be funding some level of police brutality and police violence that's linking into a white supremacist superstructure. And then also to that specifically, you're also having us buy the fact that police are always going to be good 100% of the time, which also links into that again.
Is this part of it?
Yes, it is.
Oh, where's
What
the
is
card?
that?
I think org, but also even then it's just basic analytics.
Wait, which
Oh,
org?
sorry, never mind. It's not part of it, but it's basic analytics of like, unless you want to like argue that like policing is not inherently connected to white supremacy, then it is.
No, that's fine.
I mean, are you saying that policing is not inherently connected to white supremacy?
No, we're just saying that human trafficking is a more pertinent issue, and that there's a smaller chance of policing being connected to white supremacy than there is that genocide is happening right now because of inaction from.
Wait, quick follow-up, just because I want to clarify that. You're saying that like white supremacy is less
I mean,
important than.
our evidence is specific to white supremacy and talking about the end of the world scenarios, not about any police state or anything. And it
It's not about
indicates
policing. It's about like
yeah.
if you're giving funding, you're supporting white supremacy.
Ours is saying that
You're linking
specifically
to
your
framing.
extinction scenario. You don't have any reason for me to like understand why yours is specifically white supremacist. Ours is saying that your discourse specifically is the reason that you're excluding the possibility of progress for like every other group.
Wait, question. So like, so even if we buy that, right? I'm not buying that, but like even if we buy that, like if insofar as you basically just concede the fact that you're like supporting, like you are giving funding to policing that supports a white supremacist structure, as you just conceded the fact, because Cross is finding that police states and like policing is inherently connected to white supremacy. If you're supporting white supremacy through your own action as the act, then aren't you just linking into your own framing that you do not solve? Because
No,
if white
also
supremacy is a guarantee here, then you're literally connecting yourself back to genocide.
Right, because it's also not the police state. It's
It's not about policing, it's about that you're supporting policing in the first place.
Okay.
You're giving funding to policing, which is connected to white supremacy, which allows you to basically access, which links you into your own
This
genocide
specific
argument.
thing is solving back. You don't have evidence that
Solving
says
back?
that this system is that police state. It is
It's not about
it is
policing,
an
it's that you're
alternate.
giving.
It's an
okay.
alternate
We don't
system.
have evidence that the UK is a police state.
It's not about being a police state, it's the fact that you're giving money to policing inside of the EU and inside of the UK. That's inherently linked to a white supremacist system, as you just conceded inside of Cross, because that is binding.
If it's not a police state, then there's no white supremacy.
So you're saying that if something's not a police state, it can't be white supremacist? Okay.
Running prep.
Who's not right? Sorry.
What? What's happening?
I'm just like.
Oh. judges in here.
Yeah. I'm sorry, how much mark was that?
135.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, how much time did you take for rebuttal?
50?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that sounds right.
What's the math?
Like 35 left. Right?
Yeah.
Have your rounds so far been like mainly tech?
We had I think 4 May rounds day 1, and then and then 2 tech rounds. How about you guys?
We had 5 progress.
What?
Yeah.
How?
Then it
Wait,
was
is that all Corey judges?
yeah, it's been all like pretty much we have two, but we've been having like 4 progress. My bad. Big difference.
Okay. Is everybody put in order?
Yeah.
It'll just be framing stuff. It'll be our frame, like the genocide stuff. Then all of the extinction outweighs, and then case. Case will be the what's it called? Trafficking scenario, and then it'll be 10 years trafficking their case. Good. I'm sorry, my first word. Sorry, my dog's cooked.
No, you're good. Was there the bottom thing?
What's the bottom thing?
Yeah, what's the last thing?
Oh, India.
India. Okay.
Yeah. Very good. Yes, framing, prioritize genocide. They say go for extinction, but no, genocide first. Genocide. They perpetuate a system of white supremacy with their extinction rhetoric, which is systematically bad and always pushes like people of color outside of the space because they always have to prioritize we'll have to save everyone before we can save them, but they are already dying in this world. That's from our evidence is conceded, which is why you have to prioritize us first. We are the ones saving the people who are already in a state of extinction and anything. That's the Mitchell and Chaldrick evidence. They are literally letting it go around because of their extinction rhetoric. Don't let them get away with it. We have educational impacts. Policymakers. If they win this round, there are going to be policymakers that are focused on things like securitization of the military in their countries that try to prevent extinction. The absolutes who is dismantling this racist violence and forcing them to become policymakers that focus on issues deep within society that are left unresolved. Don't let them do both extinction and genocide framing at the same time. They've already outed themselves as white supremacists. They can't go back on it. Don't let them do it. And Let's talk about them saying that they link in. No, zero evidence that Europol is specific and white supremacist is probably the least of that because it actually decks the trafficking, which is the form of genocide that links in because it says that human trafficking used with the intent to destroy target group is understood as genocide. We are stopping that. They are stopping nothing in their world, so they should lose for this extinction stuff. Don't let them get away with it. On the extinction stuff proper. Group everything about probability. They've dropped the Boyd evidence from 2023, which tells you that despite looking at all models, that extinction has a risk of 0.0001, which is categorically smaller. All of their evidence is post-dated by this, and this is probably best evidence to tell you if extinction actually happens or not. So you should deprioritize extinction on a level of actually outweighing on that. But second, they say that there's there's no genocide outcomes because it kills minorities too. No, minorities are dying now. So they are saying that we should just try to save all the white people so that we can and just ignore the minorities who are already dying. The only group that actually does anything is the come on. They're literally just saying because some people can die, it means because the top people can die, we should ignore everyone else. Because there's 0.01% chance. Come on, man. Okay, our case. One, they say that there's a 10-year overview that it takes 10 years, but no, the Kelvin Craven criteria probably means that it's significantly faster than that because the UK is already already integrated with the EU, and two, it means that even if they're right that it takes 10 years, you can still try to have a risk of solvency on something. Our impact isn't that it has to happen immediately, but that it should happen eventually, which is the reason why you still vote first anyways. And two, they go for a bunch of stuff about how is white supremacy, but they don't address the link that we're actually solving for the terrorism in the status quo anyways. And two, that even if there is some sort of white supremacy, there's categorically outweighed by us because we are solving for a genocide, and there's a minor risk of white supremacy, which definitely is worse than theirs. Go to their case. Go to the don't give them they should already be losing off this. But even then, the extinction rhetoric is already bad. Look, they have dropped that they've dropped that extinction is already a categorically low risk. They have dropped that Modi probably shouldn't attack because he's already seen the impact probably supposed to trigger. This probably means there's no risk of an offense anyways.
Okay, we're gonna take Ryan Kraft starting now.
Minute 33. We got what? 40 seconds? Yeah.
Order it's gonna be our case front lines, weighing, and then their case.
Go pretty fast.
Yeah. Alright, Thomas on my first one. We collapse on contenders through India. The UK-India FTA boosts trade directly offset the US tariffs. Regarding the EU will prevent the UK from making this deal out of EU members cannot negotiate trade agreements outside the bloc, meaning India loses a critical export market. Stolberg both weakens the Indian economy, reducing Modi's ability to maintain domestic stability. So we aggressive towards Pakistan. Any escalation triggers India's Cold Start doctrine against Pakistan, which paired with Pakistan's tactical nukes creates a use or lose nuclear scenario leading to extinction. They say that Modi should have already attacked, but no, they missed the link that Modi is not attacking the scope because of the EU-UK FTA. This is protecting India's economy coming from the brunt of Trump's tariffs. We affirm the deals at which they conceded meeting both these strikes to save face. They conceded everything on their habits. On India trafficking, extinction versus genocide, we're winning the extinction framing, under which we have a greater magnitude impact. Here we account for more lives. Time frame FTA deals are immediate and the crisis risk is short foods, meaning that the notion of the act is enough for the deals to be dismantled is leading to U.S. terrorists hitting ASAP. Human trafficking takes weeks, even months, because it's based on strategy and research development and other external factors. And the McGee evidence says that the impacts happen in 10 years. We linking by solving for extinction, we're also solving for the people that are affected by genocide. If our link triggers our impact, then the very people that they advocate for will die too. Then, way on scope, nuclear war is just more severe than genocide, is inherently more damaging because it's not just people that are affected, it's all animals and green life that die, which are just worse. And then magnitude, probability, over probability. Less intervention, more adoption. Probability has cognitive bias. People in Pakistan think you are more likely than people in the U.S. Comparing numbers is objective. Doesn't matter if something happens if it has no weight, if no one cares. And then cognitive bias is subject to be 905. Experts like the dart throwing monkeys that takes out their royal evidence. The accuracy of the experts' prediction that has an inverse relationship to self-confidence. Knowledge. People who follow current events by reading their papers. The guess what it is that happen as accurately specialized our system rewards bad judgment over good ones. Then on their case. On trafficking, remember that it takes 10 years for the UK to rejoin. It'll take months for the years to implement EU trafficking policies. They say that the UK is going to rejoin faster because the UK has similar regulations to the EU, but that's double-minded. If they have the same frameworks, the UK wouldn't need to rejoin the EU to change their security rules. Membership does not mean enforcement. Human trafficking enforcement depends on police resources and domestic prosecution, not EU membership. The UK already partners through Interpol and the UN, same coordination, different paperwork. Their own UN evidence says that the UK isn't enforcing any human trafficking policy. So even with the addition of the EU and Intel, the UK is still going to enforce their argument towards policing, which is inherently white supremacist in general. We are not the UK is a police state, but their system is that policing is inherent in general. They literally consider inside the cross that what if they're funding police and that the police are white supremacists. They literally link it to their own framework, meaning that if you're voting for the framework, you're voting them down because it gets worse, meaning they lead to more genocide. It's inherently true that systems of policing support white supremacy as our Wix 24 evidence finds. Policing officers are part of white race ideology, have institutionalized racism. Wix 24, the study approaches police officers' views as part of white racial ideology. It racializes the dominant police group outside, revealing how police institutions contribute to institutionalizing race. And then a little bit more weighing, we're saying that this form of extinction is a form of genocide. It literally causes more genocide by causing white supremacy. Either they're going to discrimination in the Olympics, or they're going to cause more genocide with the white supremacy. For our cars, that just shows it's a bias. That extinction is right inside of the bottle. We're solving with a 5% due to the fact that it's a judge intervention to say that it's not going to happen.
Wait, is evidence? Is it new?
Let me check.
I think it's new.
Which 24? No, I think it was in remote. Let me check.
Wait, okay, so you said there was no white supremacist Ev, and we read white supremacist Ev.
No, Wix is in there.
Where?
It's in the summary. Oh, wait, hold up.
In the summary doc?
No, hold up.
Wait, what's the name? How do I spell it?
WICK.
Yeah, wait, it's in the. Okay, guys, no, it doesn't matter. I mean, unless you want to actually concede to the fact that, like, white supremacy
Okay,
isn't
but the card is name. Make sure. Oh, wait, we can do cross.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's talk about extinction.
Okay.
Who is being extincted? Who is like actively in the state of extinction right now?
Who's actively in the state of extinction right now?
Yes.
Everyone under our thing because it happens first.
Okay, so contingent on extinction guaranteed happening.
It guarantees happens under the affirmation ballot. It doesn't happen under the negation ballot.
Sure. No question.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so yeah, how are you solving for human trafficking one more time?
We're solving through like tech, the SIS system, the intel sharing.
Who has SIS?
Who has SIS? The EU.
Who specifically? What organizations out of the EU have SIS?
Europol, I think. I'm
So
not sure.
okay, so Europolice, got it.
This is new, not in any other speech, and like
What do you mean? This is a new. I'm asking you.
Europol is new. Like
What do you mean
this
Europol?
implication of it being Europol is new.
I just asked you.
It's
It's
fine,
in your
it's fine.
evidence of how
Sure.
we had this conversation since rebuttal.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. You have a question?
Yeah, let's talk about. Yeah, why is risk of extinction high?
Judge intervention is the warrant we give you inside of the docs. It's
So,
all the framing
Why
arguments.
is the Boyd evidence interventionist?
Boyle, you mean?
The
Boyd's our evidence.
No, the Boyd evidence that we read at the bottom.
Oh, it's because it's basically saying, like, as Renee 05 says, it's like the accuracy for like actual like experts to like predict something is just not true. It's like you're saying like the actual like studies you're quoting are just like not gonna actually be able to be like properly indicted, and you're preferring are like 5% evidence that says that it's guaranteed to happen.
What?
It's all the stuff that was sent inside of the framing debate and rebuttal that we extended for
Which
that.
one is this?
Let me pull the doc. It's the extinction first is about like basically the whole thing about like extinction first bad, and then
Wait, that's
5%.
not what that says. That says that like statistical bias isn't applied. And
Yeah.
it should exclude other offense, but that's not what it said. That's not the same thing as what you just said.
yeah, it is. We're saying that there's statistical bias. That means that like
Wait, no, that's not how stats works. Stats
yeah,
saying
it
that
does. It's saying there's a, and also again as the Murray 2505 part like quite really says, it's impossible to actually have like this solid like viewpoints, but for which like statistics come into play here. By saying, oh, it has like a 0.001% of extinction, literally means nothing insofar as like, again, as we mentioned, like the fact that like everybody has different viewpoints on like how like the percentage of something happening is based on their like material
yours
conditions.
just says that this might like mean that other things are excluded. Does not mean that we should prioritize it. What?
Yeah, that's all. The point for prioritization is literally every other piece of warrants we gave. Like, sure, you can look at one card and say, this doesn't mean anything, but if you're just looking at one link
Wait,
without
also,
looking at the
what
internal
evidence is this? Because I just see like a block of text.
it's just everything in Merkway.
That's fine. Okay, let's cross.
Okay.
Alright. How much do we have? 35? 35.
It's gonna be framing on the pre-fiat level, and then on the post-fiat level with weighing, and in our case, weighing fairness. Yeah, I have to go fast. Okay, ready?
Yeah, you're good.
Time starts now. They are racist and they should lose for it. On the pre-fiat level, everything in debate is fiated, but the only thing that the education is that we can't, but the education is the only thing that we get out of it that isn't. Prioritized education is the only reason why schools fund debate in the first place, and the only impact of the debate. They drop that prioritizing genocide is good for academia. It puts good policy making. It's the prior question to debate because it's actually how we debate the round and how people do it in the future when they get their jobs. If they win this round, they are going to be the policymakers that are focused on things like securitization, military, in their countries that they're trying to prevent extinction. The act solves through dismantling this racist violence and forcing them to become policymakers that focus on issues deep within society that are left undrawn and everyone is ignoring. Don't let them do both extinction and genocide framing. They have outed themselves as white supremacists in this round, and don't let them go back. This is drop that their extinction has already been worse. And on policing, there's zero evidence that Europol is specific to white supremacists. It's probably the least you can find, and their systems of oppression linked to the world. If we win genocide that is worse than extinction, then they should lose. Their Europol implementation comes in second summary, but you know that you can help when you solve for genocide. And extinction perpetuates genocide because people are always going to prioritize everyone else and forget for the people that are actually suffering and dying from genocide now. Extinction ignores this, but the policy, but puts the policy on the backboard. And don't buy the extinction happens because they dropped the Boyd evidence, which says that extinction has a 0.001% chance. All their evidence posts say it's the best evidence in how you can actually look to probability. But their reapplications are so new and so wrong. Their probability stats doesn't matter if there's no chance of actual extinction. But the biggest argument in the round is human trafficking. Hundreds of thousands of people are being enslaved right now. The UK isn't doing anything. Joining the EU is the only solution because it gets access to the EU resources. Otherwise, you perpetuate genocide. They say that they're outweighing on time frame, but it doesn't matter as long as one, we are solving for genocide, and two, that the rejoin process is really fast because of Copenhagen. But on India, they have conceded that our risk is high and their risk is low. But remember that they should have seen their impacts triggered because Modi won't attack. He's seen the U.S. terrorists, which means their triggered impacts are never going to trigger. But vote for the pre-fiat level means we win. Don't let racists get away with racism.
starting like 50, what was it? 50 and then 120, so
50 more? That sounds right.
yeah, at 50.
Okay, starting now.
Alright, that's right. Okay. Quick reminder, we sent 0-second speaker for Georgia Valley today. Order of the speech is gonna be, it's gonna be our case front lines onto trafficking, which includes the framing.
Okay.
Yeah. And then like general kind of underview at the bottom. Great. If everyone's ready, time will start my first word.
Good arcades on India, the UK FTA is boosted directly as offsetting US terrorist rights. Rejoining the EU would actually prevent the UK from making these deals. That members cannot negotiate trade and get agreements outside of the bloc, meaning that India will lose critical exports, slower growth in regions, the Indian market, making commodities ability to determine domestic stability, so he aggressive towards Pakistan in the first place. Any escalation increase that India's Cold War start doctrine against Pakistan, which paired with the Pakistan's tactical news, causes a lose or use or lose nuclear scenario leading to extinction. Frontlines our case and impacts scenarios 100%. They conceded this in literally every single breach. The last thing they've heard, Blue is a nothing burger. So all that they say that people are dying right now in their own world, nuke war is confirmed to happening, strongest link in the round. But for our evidence, it shows that bias in the extinction is a read inside of the road because of 5% due to judgment for it. To say that this happened, they drop everything that says that expert analysis sucks in the first place, meaning they concede that extinction happens. On tracking, they're literally the more racist ones because they're linking in and supporting a white supremacist system and superstructure. They are doing both. We aren't doing both. We're saying that extinction should be first, but even if you do not buy that, buy their own framework because they're voting them down on their own framework. Remember that it takes 10 years for the UK to join, then it will take months for them to implement the EU trafficking policies. They said that the EU should join faster because the EU has similar regulations to the EU, but it knows that double one because they have the same program that wouldn't need to rejoin the EU and change their security rules. Membership does not mean enforcement. Human trafficking enforcement depends on the police, Interpol, and in the UN, same coordination, different papers, their own EU evidence that the human trafficking policies and everything was about this was literally dropped in the last speech. All the non-elites here, they literally do not stop for human trafficking. Then go into they literally conceded inside across that they're fine police and that the police are a white structure. They literally link it to their own framework, meaning that if you're voting for their framework in today's debate, you're voting them down, but because they literally are the worst ones, meaning they go to genocide. Is it really true that policing means more white supremacy? As our Wish 25 evidence shows that the police are a part of white supremacy ideology and have more institutional identity, as Wish 24 finds in the study, shows that views as white supremacy and racialized dominant groups are white, providing the same idea. And then go into some meta way, we're not doing it because there's some two things where we say that a form of extinction is a genocide, meaning that both you're voting for extinction for us, but you're also, even if you buy their own framework for genocide, you're voting for us as well because they're literally more racist in support of white supremacist superstructure.
Good round.
Good round.
Thank you, James.
And good round.
Look at you act like some online.
Probably, honestly. For the